Why did US invaded um, Venezuela and capture Nicholas Maduro, the president of Venezuela? I've seen various videos of people talk about why US invaded Venezuela, from people saying because of drug trafficking, fentanyl, and all that. But I saw a video that is the most correct reason I want to believe that Donald Trump, US president, invaded Venezuela and kidnap or capture the president of Venezuela. As if that was not enough. The way after the capture, the way the president of US was speaking really shows how arrogant, how barbaric, how primitive, how archaic Donald Trump thinks. What is even diplomacy? There's no diplomacy. You're talking about you've captured the president of the country. Let's even assume that Nicolas Maduro has committed a lot of crimes, have done a lot of bad, killed his people and all that. Yes. What about diplomacy after the capture? Say that, yeah, you're going into Venezuela, you'll be the one taking the resources of Venezuela now. You'll be the one to extract their oil. You'll be in control of. What's the meaning of that? That is the kind of things we see in Africa, the so-called third world countries or banana republic. That's the kind of things we see there, where crude force, where physical naked force is might or is right. I am so disappointed. Even though I love Donald Trump, I am so much disappointed in what he has done, especially after the capture, the way he has been speaking, and even his employees. I know those ones are just yes sir people. You understand? Is wrong. It's wrong. And other countries are watching, they are learning. There's no morality that anybody can preach again after what has happened in Venezuela, after what Donald Trump has done. I know that's not necessarily how US operate. Something similar also happened in past US government, but it was not communicated like this. This Donald Trump communication is totally wrong. It's totally bad. It's barbaric and needs to be condemned by every reasonable citizen of the world. So watch this video. You will see the real reason why US went to Venezuela to kidnap the president of Venezuela and so-called prosecute him now in the US. Just watch. I'll be in the comment section.
All right, everyone. Keep up with me. I'm about to break down everything you need to know about what the U.S. is doing to Venezuela and the whole world at large. The real reason the U.S. is invading Venezuela goes back to a deal Henry Kissinger made with Saudi Arabia in 1974. And I'm going to explain why this is actually about the survival of the U.S. dollar itself. Not drugs, not terrorism, not democracy. This is about the petrodollar system that has kept America the dominant economic power for over 50 years. And Venezuela just threatened to end it. Here's what really happened. Venezuela has 303 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, the largest on earth, more than Saudi Arabia, 20% of the entire world's oil. But here's the part that matters. Venezuela was actively selling that oil in Chinese yuan, not dollars. In 2018, Venezuela announced it would free itself from the dollar. They started accepting yuan, euros, rubles, anything but dollars for oil. They were also petitioning to join BRICS. They were building direct payment channels with China that bypass SWIFT entirely. SWIFT being the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication that ensures the whole world is reliant on the US dollar and banking system. And Venezuela was sitting on enough oil to fund de-dollarization for decades. Why does this matter? Because the entire American financial system is built on one thing, the petrodollar, which is US dollars earned by oil exporting countries from selling oil, creating a system where oil is priced and traded globally in US dollars. In 1974, Henry Kissinger made a deal with Saudi Arabia. All oil sold globally must be priced in US dollars. In exchange, America provides military protection. This single agreement created artificial demand for dollars worldwide. Every country on earth needs dollars to buy oil. This lets America print unlimited money, while other countries have to work for it. It funds the military, the welfare state, the deficit spending. The petrodollar is more important to U.S. hegemony than aircraft carriers. And there's a pattern of what happens to leaders who challenge it. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announces Iraq will sell oil in euros instead of dollars. In 2003, Iraq was invaded. Regime was changed. Iraq's oil immediately switched back to dollars, and Saddam was lynched. The WMDs were never found because they never existed. Thus, the U.S. killing over 1 million Iraqis just for shits and giggles. In 2009, Gaddafi proposes a gold-backed African currency called the gold dinar for oil trade. Hillary Clinton's own leaked emails confirmed this was the primary reason for intervention. The email, quote, said, "This gold was intended to establish a pan-African currency based on the Libyan golden dinar." In 2011, NATO bombs Libya. Gaddafi was sodomized and murdered, and Libya now has open slave markets. We came, we saw, he died. Hillary Clinton laughed on camera. The gold dinar died with him. And now Maduro, with 5 times more oil than Saddam and Gaddafi combined, actively selling in the Chinese currency, yuan, building payment systems outside dollar control, petitioning to join BRICS, partnered with China, Russia, and Iran, the 3 countries leading global de-dollarization. This isn't coincidence. The U.S. rule of thumb, challenge the petrodollar, get your regime changed. Every single time. Stephen Miller, U.S. Homeland Security Advisor, literally said it out loud 2 weeks ago. American sweat, ingenuity, and toil created the oil industry in Venezuela. Its tyrannical expropriation was the largest recorded theft of American wealth and property. He's not even hiding it. And Trump's address was a clear admission to it. They're claiming Venezuelan oil belongs to America because U.S. companies developed it 100 years ago. By this logic, every nationalized resource in history was theft. But here's the deeper problem. The petrodollar is already dying. Russia sells oil in rubles and yuan since Ukraine. Saudi Arabia is openly discussing yuan settlements. Iran has been trading in non-dollar currencies for years. China built CIPS, the cross-border interbank payment system, their own alternative to SWIFT, with 4,800 banks in 185 countries. BRICS is actively building payment systems that bypass the dollar entirely. The BRICS Bridge Project, mBridge, lets central banks settle trades instantly in local currencies. Venezuela joining BRICS with 303 billion barrels of oil would accelerate this exponentially. That's what this invasion is really about. This isn't about stopping drugs. Venezuela accounts for less than 1% of U.S. cocaine, and Trump just pardoned the president of Honduras, a man responsible for trafficking 400 tons of cocaine into America. This isn't about terrorism. There's literally zero evidence Maduro runs a terror organization. And we all know how the biggest terrorists of our planet, Benjamin Netanyahu and the terrorist ethno-state of Israel, have been pushing for this attack on Venezuela because the ethno-state of Israel would not exist without U.S.'s powerful money, aka the power of their petrodollar. This is not about democracy. The U.S. supports Saudi Arabia, which has 0 elections. This is about maintaining a 50-year-old agreement that lets America print money while the world works for it. And the consequences are terrifying. Russia, China, and Iran are already denouncing this as armed aggression. China is Venezuela's biggest oil customer. They're losing billions. BRICS nations are watching a country get invaded for trading outside the dollar. Every nation considering de-dollarization just got the message. Challenge the dollar and we will bomb you. But here's the problem. That message might accelerate de-dollarization, but it will not stop it. Because now every country in the global south knows what happens if you threaten dollar hegemony. And they're realizing the only protection is to move faster. And the timing is insane. January 3rd, 2026, Venezuela invaded. Maduro captured. January 3rd, 1990, Panama invaded. Noriega captured. 36 years apart, almost to the day. Same playbook, same drug trafficking excuse. Same real reason, control of strategic resources and trade routes. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. What happens next? Trump's press conference at Mar-a-Lago set the narrative. U.S. oil companies are already lined up. Politico reported they've been approached about returning to Venezuela. The opposition will be installed. Oil will flow in dollars again. Venezuela becomes another Iraq, another Libya. And all you Venezuelans, celebrating specifically those of you living in your privilege of the Western world, are all cowards that have no idea what the fuck you're celebrating. Because you might as well be celebrating on your hands and knees, bowing to our pedophile in chief that is still actively deporting your people to a place that is about to go into all-out war with a puppet government installed that is a slave to Israel and the U.S. But here's what nobody's asking. What happens when you can no longer bomb your way to dollar dominance? When China has enough economic leverage and weaponry to retaliate? When BRICS controls 40% of global GDP and says no more dollars? When the world realizes the petrodollar is maintained by violence? America just showed its hand. The question is whether the rest of the world folds or calls their bluff. Because this invasion is an admission that the dollar can no longer compete on its own merits. When you have to bomb countries to keep them using your currency is already dying. Venezuela isn't the beginning. It's the desperate end to the U.S. empire. Have a good day.